Hello and welcome to Persuasive Writing Part 1. Let's start off with some synonyms for persuade. Convince, influence, plead your case, argue, sway, win over, and I challenge you to also look up some additional synonyms and think about the different shades of meaning that those synonyms might have. Why even write to persuade? The goal of the argument is to win acceptance of your ideas when others, for whatever reason, don't agree with you. And what is the goal of creating a persuasive argument? Well, the argument itself makes us take a closer look at our own and others' ideas more carefully. Writing a persuasive paper helps us to look at evidence, state ideas more clearly, to consider the claims of the opposition fairly, and to justify our own position. Now, let's talk about the difference between arguing and convincing. Arguments state a side of the issue for the purpose of convincing. And this is definitely different than just arguing with your little brother. Now, what we want to do is appeal to the reader. And here are 3 different ways to appeal to the reader. The first is logos, appeal to logic. The second is pathos, appeal to emotion. And the third is ethos, appeal to ethics. Now, the reason we use the word appeal is that the focus is on the reader, to convince the reader. Let's start with logos, number 1. Will the reader believe that you have covered all of the important points? Will the argument make sense to the reader? And does each argument relate to the next and the main point? So that's your appeal to logic. And second, we have pathos. How will the reader feel based on the arguments you are presenting? How will the reader feel good about what you are saying? And will the reader feel compelled emotionally to take the action you would like them to? So again, that's an appeal to emotion. Finally, ethos. Will the reader believe that your argument is the right thing to say? Are you convincing the reader that the action you want them to take is the right thing to do? And that's ethos, an appeal to ethics, right and wrong, good versus bad, multiple perspectives. Now, here is one way you can organize a paragraph for your introduction. And this would be for a powerful, persuasive introduction. And we like to call that GESFA. Starting off with G, get the reader's attention. Use a provocative statement or a question or a bold statement. Moving on to E, establish the need. Describe the problem to your reader. And then follow up with S, satisfy the need. Offer a solution to the problem. Then V, visualize the future with and without the change. Make it real for your reader. And A, ask for action. Ask to make a change. And that's GESFA. And then moving on to paragraph 2, that's your first body paragraph. And that's your first reason for the change that you're suggesting in your persuasive essay. You want to explain why the change should occur, and then give 3 powerful examples, A, B, and C. Make it real for your reader. Remember to include a counterexample. Take into account the counter argument, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in video 2. Then you move on to paragraph 3, which is your reason number 2, and follow that same format. And then you have paragraph 4, which is reason number 3, and then you finish off with paragraph 5, which is your conclusion. That's where you sum up your key points and your 3 reasons, and you ask for the change. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. I would like you to take a look at two powerful historical speeches that were meant to persuade. And I would like you to try to identify some of the powerful persuasive elements in Gesfa and any other elements that you feel are persuasive. Then in video 2, we'll take a look at what you found and finish out the rest of the instructions. So again, the first is the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. So go ahead and pause the video and take a look at the speech. Try to identify some persuasive elements. And then you'll move on to the I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King Jr. Again, try to identify the powerful persuasive elements. And then we'll follow up in video 2 about how to build your paragraphs.